In the Premier League era at least, the top flight of English football has always had a very defined top bracket. For a long time, it was the top four of Manchester United, Arsenal, Liverpool and Chelsea. Now, there is a very clear top six that are miles ahead of the rest of the division, namely those four clubs plus Manchester City and Tottenham Hotspur. Whilst the likes of Watford and Wolves are having very good seasons, there is a 13-point gap between 7th place Wolves and 6th placed Arsenal. To put that in perspective, Wolves are the same distance points-wise to the team 1 place above them as they are to the team 9 places below them, and they're as close to the relegation zone as they are to the top 4 in terms of points. Despite this gulf, there is some real talent outside of the top 6 in the Premier League, and today we wanted to have a crack at taking the so-called best of the rest and seeing what kind of 11 we could come up with. Here is our Premier League 11, made up only of players from outside the top 6. Goalkeeper: Rui Patricio. There are some really good goalkeepers from Martin Dubravka to Matt Ryan and Peter Schmeichel outside of the Premier League's top 6, but the two leading candidates for us were Rui Patricio and Lucas Fabianski. I'd say Fabianski has had the better season, but I still think Patricio is probably the better goalkeeper overall. Capped 79 times by Portugal, Patricio joined Wolves after terminating his contract with Sporting in the summer, and Wolves has since agreed to pay €18 million for the 31-year-old. An excellent shot stopper with smart reflexes and handling, Patricio has kept 6 clean sheets in the Premier League so far this season. Left back: Ben Chilwell. Once again, we could mention the likes of Luca Digne and Ryan Bertrand at left back, and in an attacking sense, Digne is absolutely superb. In terms of his all-round game though, we feel Ben Chilwell is the best equipped. At the age of 22, Chilwell has broken into the England squad and won 6 caps in a highly competitive position, and seems to be making a good case for being Gareth Southgate's first choice there. He's had the best season of his career this term, as one might expect with the 22-year-old, and Brendan Rodgers may soon face a fight to keep him at the King Power Stadium. Centre back: Nathan Ake. We'll go into more detail on the plethora of options that we had at centre back when we come to our substitutes, but in the end, we've struck up a partnership that I really like the look of. We start with Bournemouth man Nathan Ake, who joined the Cherries on a permanent deal worth £20 million from Chelsea in 2017. That's a sizable transfer fee, but anyhow, one ought to trust, and so it's proved with Ake. He now looks a class act at the Vitality Stadium, and it would probably take double that, if not more, to take him off Bournemouth's hands anytime soon. Ake has a wonderful blend of physicality, technique, and force in the tackle. He has won 10 caps for a Netherlands team, blessed with a few very good centre-backs, and the 24-year-old starts for us here. Centre-back: Harry Maguire. We said we had a nice blend at centre-back, and that's because partnering Nathan Ake is Leicester City star Harry Maguire. Maguire is considerably larger than Ake, he's stronger in the tackle and more formidable in the air, but he's still a very good ball player. It's a sight which takes some getting used to, but Maguire has no problem carrying the ball 20 or 30 yards and taking on a player or two. I think a lot of people don't actually understand how meteoric the England international's rise has been. He was a bit part player for Hull City in the Championship as recently as 2016, and it was only really after Marco Silva replaced Mike Phelan in January 2017 that the big man really started to impress. He's now a nailed-on inclusion in the England squad though, a national hero, and is being linked with huge moves to the likes of Manchester United. He has to start. Right back: Erin Wamba. Completing our youthful backline, which has an average age of 23, is Crystal Palace fullback Erin Wamba. The 21-year-old only made his Crystal Palace debut in February 2018, but in the 13 months since, one could make a good case for him having been the best right back in the division. Wan-Bissaka played as a winger in youth team football, but he's looked every bit a defender in the senior game, and not many wide players have got the better of him this season. Matt Doherty at Wolves and Ricardo Pereira at Leicester offer good competition, but we think Wan-Bissaka is an obvious choice at right back. Holding midfield: Declan Rice. I seem to be talking about Declan Rice every week on the channel recently, and the man who causes the Irish guy in HITC Sport many a sleepless night makes this starting 11 as well. Ireland's loss is most assuredly England's gain, and it is a holding midfielder with real positional nous and good technical skills that England have been calling out for. Everything I've seen from Declan Rice suggests that he could be that man, and indeed, he may already be. Having dipped in and out of the West Ham side, predominantly at centre-back last season, Rice has made the defensive midfield position his own under Manuel Pellegrini this season. We've got an attacking front three, so we wanted a midfield that would offer our back four some protection, and there was no finer candidate to do that than Rice. Holding midfield, Ruben Nevers. We've got two sitters in our midfield, but whilst Rice is predominantly in there to disrupt opposition attacks and keep things ticking over, Nevers is the one who can control the entire tempo of a game and split open the opposition defence in the blink of an eye. I watched a lot of Nevers in the Championship last season, and it was pretty obvious that he was completely out of place in the second tier. He was by far and away the best player in the league, and he's now probably the best player in the Premier League outside of the top six. Such a technically gifted and intelligent footballer, Nevers wouldn't look out of place in any side, and he's still only 22. Central midfield, Abdoulaye Doucouré. We contemplated going with an attacking midfielder in front of our two sitters, someone like Gylfi Sigurdsson or James Maddison, but our front three is so attacking, and Abdoulaye Doucouré has been absolutely outstanding for Watford over the last 2 seasons, so he's our third midfielder. Doucouré doesn't get anywhere near as much recognition as he deserves, except for on this channel of course, but he's an excellent box-to-box midfielder. Really athletic, purposeful, and good on the ball, he'd have plenty of licence to get forward with Rice and Nevers in behind him. Doucouré was Watford's player of the season last term, and he's been brilliant once again with Javi Grazia's side currently up in 8th place. Left wing, Wilfried Zaha. We promised you an attacking front three, but what they lack in defensive protection, they more than make up for in terms of their goal threat. We start with Wilfried Zaha on the left, although our left and right wingers are easily interchangeable and capable of bamboozling any back four. Zaha has been Crystal Palace's star man for at least 3 seasons now. Their win percentage with and without him speaks volumes, and in a stronger side with a little more invention going forward, he should be even more productive in terms of goals and assists. The once English and now Ivorian international has the joint most dribbles per game, tied with Eden Hazard in the Premier League this season, and he's also tied with Hazard as the most fouled player in the division. He's a very good player and a match winner, so he starts for us. Right wing, Marko Arnautovic. One of the most dangerous players in the Premier League when he's at it, but when he's at it is the real problem with Marko Arnautovic. Stoke City fans long bemoaned his erratic form, and just as he appeared to be putting together consistently top-class performances at West Ham, he decided he'd had enough and he wanted to go to China. Whether the Austrian international will stick around at the London Stadium in the summer remains to be seen, but if he had consistently shown the kind of form that he is capable of, he would be playing in the Champions League and wouldn't have joined the Hammers in the first place. Capable of playing on either flank or through the middle, Arnautovic is tricky and explosive, and on talent alone, we feel he has to feature. Centre forward, Callum Wilson. Now, we only have one spot as our starting centre forward, so naturally some fine front men had to miss out. I've no doubt that Newcastle fans will feel we should have gone for Solomon Rondon, Fulham fans could make a good case for Alexander Mitrovic, and Brighton fans might even feel Glenn Murray ought to have been in with a shout. Ultimately, our top 3 candidates were Callum Wilson, Jamie Vardy, and Raul Jimenez. Jimenez is the one who has surprised me the most this season, not in terms of his all-round play, which was good at Benfica, but just in terms of his recent streak of goal scoring, which puts him on 12 for the season right now. Vardy we know all about, and he's been as good as ever this season, but Callum Wilson is our choice, and we'll explain why. Having been outstanding for Bournemouth when they won promotion from the Championship, Wilson picked up a horrible injury after making a bright start to life in the Premier League. Without that setback, I suspect he wouldn't be with the Cherries right now, but rather with one of the top 6, and that could still happen for the recently Chelsea-linked 27-year-old. He's basically averaged a goal every other game for Bournemouth this season, as well as winning his first cap and scoring his first goal for England. He's quick, strong, he can beat a player, he keeps getting in the right areas, and he's a really smart finisher in front of goal. Vardy is fantastic in behind, and Jimenez looks great in this Wolves side, but you could stick Wilson in any side and he'd score goals. It's a debatable one, no doubt, but he's our choice. Substitutes. All is not lost. If you're sitting there raging that a player you feel really ought to have made it and didn't, then who knows, they might at least get a spot on the bench. We mentioned some of our options between the sticks earlier, but we said Patricio and Fabianski were our 2 favourites. so it's Fabianski who is the first name on our bench. There were so many centre-backs to contend with, such as Issa Diop at West Ham, Jamal Lascelles and Fabian Schär at Newcastle, Duffy and Dunk at Brighton, Tarkowski and me at Burnley, Sacco at Palace, Bolly at Wolves. We really could go on. In the end, our backup to Ake and Maguire is another England international, in the form of Michael Keane. He's not the only Everton player on our bench, since whilst teammate Luca Digne may have missed out at Ben Chilwell in our starting 11, he can chomp at his heels from the bench. There were other fullback options like Pereira at Leicester and Doherty at Wolves, but Digne offers so much going forward, so we feel he'd be the better option off the bench. Should anything happen to Declan Rice or Ruben Nevers in holding midfield, Wilfred Ndidi is a more than capable deputy. The Leicester City and Nigeria man has fantastic energy and continues the youthful theme in our side, so he just pips Idrissa Gana Gueye into a spot on the bench. Our other midfield option is João Moutinho, who so nearly made our starting 11, but with Rice and Nevers sitting, we went with the legs of Decore instead. Moutinho looked to be a classy signing by Wolves in the summer, and he has proved to be just that, hard-working and really creative. Next up was maybe the trickiest decision of the lot, picking either a winger or attacking midfielder. The likes of Manuel Lanzini, Ryan Fraser, James Maddison and Gylfi Sigurdsson all came to mind, but Felipe Anderson and Richarlison were our two favourites thanks to their ability to pretty much play on either flank or through the middle. You can take your pick, but we've gone with Anderson, who has shown glimpses of brilliance at West Ham this season and is very versatile. Last but not least, our backup centre-forward was a toss-up between Raul Jimenez and Jamie Vardy. Very different players, but both have bagged 12 goals this season. We've gone for Vardy, who has been at it for long enough now for his fine form to go largely unnoticed, but he's a top forward for a team outside the top 6. So that's it for our starting 11 and bench. I'm pretty happy with the starting 11 we've put together. I think it's got good balance, some nice partnerships like Ake and Maguire, a real gem in Nevers in the middle of the park, 2 unpredictable wide men and a prolific centre forward. On the other hand, one could ask themselves, as good as that starting 11 is, would it get in the top 4? My suspicion is that it wouldn't, and I think that exposes a real problem with modern football, or at least the top leagues. It's far too much of a closed shop, and surely at some point, the lack of competitiveness has to start to irk supporters. I've no doubt that you will disagree with my 11, especially those of you who support a Premier League club outside of the top 6 who most likely feel your team didn't get enough recognition, or at least that a certain player should have featured, and I can forgive you for that. Feel free to let us know what your non-top 6 11s would look like in the comments, along with any future video ideas you may have. And do give us a like if you found this video somewhat watchable, and subscribe if you want to witness similarly watchable content from me in the future.